Hello and welcome back to Studio Session. I'm Catherine. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. We are finally back after, I think, pretty much like a 2-week hiatus. We had April break and then just like conflicting schedules, different things like that. But we are back and we are going to get in a couple more episodes before the end of the school year. So jumping into our report. For reading, my English class just started 1984 by George Orwell, and I'm pretty sure Lucas mentioned this like as a book that he really liked in one of the recent podcast episodes. So I'm excited to start reading it and see what it's all about. For eating, I've been eating a lot of goldfish recently, and not just like the original ones. There's like s'mores goldfish, vanilla cupcake goldfish. Like the more sweet ones are so good and so underrated. People need to be talking about these more. For playing, I am, of course, playing the new Taylor Swift album, The Tortured Poets Department, and we got a surprise double album drop. I wouldn't call it a full second album, but 15 extra songs, amazing. I think it's called The Anthology. So good. I love them all. For obsessing, this is also kind of going along with eating, but the other day, me and my sister went to Lincoln Creamery because they just reopened for the season, and I tried banana pudding ice cream, and I've talked about how much I like banana cream pie ice cream on this podcast before, but banana pudding ice cream, it like changed my life. It was the best thing ever. I just love anything banana flavored, so it's definitely like a personal preference, but there were like Nilla wafers, and it was so good. It literally changed my life. For recommending, I recommend that you just like text your family and friends. Tell them if you miss them, if you have not seen them in a while. Tell them you appreciate them. I don't know. It's just always good to reach out. And finally, for treating, I've just been treating myself in like my downtime. I'll be going on like long walks with my sister, with my dog, just kind of getting out in the sun when it's nice out. That's it for today's report, and let's jump into our main segment. I'm joined with Lucas for our main segment, and today's album review is one of my picks, and it is What Do You Think About the Car by Declan McKenna. This is an alternative album that was released in 2017. I don't think Declan McKenna has that many like actually full albums out. I think he's a couple singles, but this is one of his first like complete albums, and I honestly don't even know how I discovered it. Actually, yes, I do. My favorite on this album, just jumping right in, is the song Brazil. It's the most iconic one. I feel like everyone knows this song, and I think that is how I got into this album because I love the song so much. It's like the epitome of summer to me. I think the lyrics actually have like some kind of deeper meaning. I think it's about like, I don't know, like sports or something. I've read somewhere there's a deeper meaning that I didn't really get when listening to it, but there's something. I love the tune. It is pretty much like my go-to summer song. And this song is kind of what got me into the album. I loved it so much that I had to go and check out the other songs by Declan McKenna. So Brazil is my favorite. It's just objectively the best song. It's so good.
For my most favorite, I picked The Kids Don't Want to Go Home. I really like the mellowish vibe of this one. And I really appreciated the end. There was like a little sample with kids talking, and I just felt like it wrapped up a really good song. I thought it had added significance due to that. So for that reason, The Kids Don't Want to Go Home is my most favorite.
My second favorite song is Why Do You Feel So Down? Just like the opening tune to this one immediately like hooks you. It's like, it's fun, it's different. It kind of has like, not like a synth, I don't know what you'd call it, but just like a really unique tune that it just like immediately captures your attention. I like the lyrics. I think that they're like fun, but I don't know. Something about this one like scratches my brain the right way, if that makes any sense. So Why Do You Feel So Down is my second favorite.
For my second most favorite, I had to go with Brazil. I try not to make my most favorite a song where it's like, this is the one I've heard before, but on this album, this is the one that I have heard before. It's definitely been popular as of late. I really like the guitar work, especially at the beginning. There's some oohing and ahhing going on in the background. I really like that as well. And overall, I feel like Brazil is a really nice, complete song.
My least favorite song on this album was the last track, which is called Listen to Your Friends. Again, it's not a bad song. I feel like a lot of these albums that we review, there's no songs I really dislike. There's just ones I don't like as much. I think because it is the last, I kind of like tend to forget about it. I mean, like I've listened to this album a bunch, and maybe it's just because whenever I play it start to finish, because it's the last one, I just don't listen to it as much. But I kind of forgot about it. Like when I was looking at all of the tracks on this album, I was like, oh, I honestly forgot this song even existed for having listened to this album so much. It's not bad. It kind of has like a simple beat. Yeah, I just kind of forgot about it, so it unfortunately fell last in my rankings.
For my selection, I picked Bethlehem. Again, I feel like what Catherine said, we're suffering from the thriller theory here. Not a bad song at all, but just less memorable. And there's a couple more tracks I feel like are significantly better than this one, so I'm giving my nod to Bethlehem.
And finally, my underrated pick, I chose the one Lucas said was his favorite, which is The Kids Don't Want to Come Home. Pretty much everything he said is why I think it's underrated. I love the sample of the kid's voice at the end. I think it just makes it complete. I don't know. I don't always love like little samples like that of like people talking, but I just thought it was cute and wholesome. The kids' voices added to it, which I don't know. I feel like in some circumstances it could be like, oh, ew, why are kids singing on this song? But I think it worked, and I think it's a really underrated song on this album.
For my underrated pick, I picked Mind. I really liked this. Kind of had some Tame Impala vibes to me a little bit, especially like earlier Tame Impala. Definitely like this song. It was kind of repetitive, so I was debating giving it the selection here, but I think it was definitely worthy of my underrated pick.
For my overall album rating, I gave this one a 8.75 out of 10. I originally had it as an 8.5, but that felt a little too low. But I also felt like I couldn't quite give it a 9 just because it is like a rather short album. I don't remember how many songs right off the top of my head, but I think it was only like 12-ish. I don't know, it was a little short. A lot of the songs I absolutely love. Pretty much all of them, actually, I really like. Like I said, I think Declan McKenna is a really underrated artist. I think I've mentioned him in my underrated artists on like a really earlier podcast. But it's just really good. I think it's cohesive. Every song is meaningful in some way. And I just really like this album. It just wasn't like, not one of like the best ever, so I couldn't really give it higher than this, but I really, really liked it.
I gotta give this one a 7 out of 10. So that's still passing, but just not. I feel like we've listened to better albums this year. Not really. A lot of the tracks I feel like weren't as memorable as I'd like them to be. None were really bad, but there wasn't really the peaks. Like obviously you have Brazil and The Kids Don't Want to Go Home, but that's kind of it. I feel like in terms of that 3-song peak from 2 to 4. After that, I feel like it kind of dies down, and I don't really recall most of the later stuff. So for that reason, I'm saying that this is a 7 out of 10 album. Still definitely a good project, though.
That was today's album review, and let's jump into our game. For today's game, we are trying something new. In the past, we've done different like games with Taylor Swift song lyrics or song titles. But today, I decided that I think we should do a real or fake Taylor Swift title game. Now that Taylor Swift just released the Tortured Poets Department, there are a lot of song titles to like memorize, so it's hard to remember them all. So basically, I wrote down some real Taylor Swift song titles, and then I just made some up, and I'm just going to be quizzing Lucas on them and seeing if he can determine which ones I made up. Okay, the first one is Last of Us.
I'm going to say that this is a fake title.
That is correct. I just made that one up. Next, we have Changed.
This feels like definitely like an earlier Taylor type song on like Fearless or something. So I'm going to say that this is a real song title.
Okay, so this one was really tricky because Changed is not a song, but Change is. I know that's kind of cheating, but Change actually is on Fearless, so I'm very impressed with that. But Changed is not a song technically. Next, we have The Outside.
Okay, I'm going to say this feels kind of like newer-ish to me. This feels like we're talking like folklore and Fearless type realm there. So I'm going to say that this is a real song title.
The Outside is a real song title, but actually on the complete opposite spectrum. It's on Debut. Next, we have So It Goes.
This is 1000% a real track. I'm thinking of this right now. I just I don't know what it's on, but I feel like I've heard this one before.
Yes, this one is on Reputation. The next one I have is Robin.
Um, I'm not quite sure about this one. I feel like it could be a real song title, but I don't think it is because it's not really coming to mind. So I'm gonna say no.
So this actually is a real song title, and it's on this second half of the Tortured Poets Department. So it just came out, so a little tricky there. Next we have Wake Up.
I'm gonna say no again. I don't know. It's not really. I can't think of a proper place where I would put this in her discography.
That's correct. I just made that one up. I'm Gonna Get You Back.
Okay. This is definitely giving me Taylor vibes. She tends to be kind of vengeful in some of her songs. So I'm gonna say that this is a real track. Probably, I'm gonna say from Reputation era, just because that seems like the obvious choice.
This is a Taylor Swift track, but it's actually also on the new Tortured Poets Department album. So High School.
Okay, this is definitely one that I'm gonna get wrong, but I do not think that this is a real song. Although it definitely could be, so I'm not quite sure, but I'm gonna say no.
This one actually is. This is also on the new installation of the Tortured Poets Department. I kind of purposely did a lot from this new album because I figured you wouldn't get them. Okay, next one is Marilyn.
I'm gonna say that this is. I'm gonna again say this is not a real song. I don't know. I'm thinking of there's not really a lot of songs that she has that are named just a person's name. So I don't think this is in that company.
That is correct. I just kind of made it up. She has Betty and Dorothea, so that's what I was trying to go for, but yeah, I just made that one up. Okay, Tell Me Why.
This is again giving me some Taylor vibes, but I can't really place it. But I'm gonna say yes, it is because I've said no a lot.
It is. This one is on Fearless. And the final one I have today is Promise Me.
I'm gonna say no on this one. Yeah, final answer, locking it in. I'm going with no.
Yeah, that's correct. I just made this one up. Okay, I'm actually pretty impressed with how you did. I think you got most of them right. Only one or two that I think tripped you up. I did purposely include a lot, like I said, from the Tortured Poets Department because it's so new, and even myself as a huge fan, I'm struggling to remember which songs are on this album because there's a lot. That was it for today's game, and let's jump into our last segment. As always, we are ending with what to expect next. So our next album review is going to be one of Lucas's picks. He chose Because the Internet by Childish Gambino. I don't know if I've actually heard any songs on this album, so I'm excited to give it a listen. Any closing remarks today?
Yeah, recently we got word from Childish Gambino, within the past week, that he's working on 2 new projects, one of which is a reworked version of his 2020 album, 3.15.20. I'm definitely excited for that. There was a snippet played from his newer album, which I'm not quite sure has a name yet. It's like the soundtrack to a movie that he's working on. Gambino gets it all done. But this snippet, it was him, and it also featured Kanye, and they were both actually kind of going crazy. It was interesting to see Kanye displaying such good rapping skills after what we saw on Vultures. Unfortunately, it was not very good. So I'm excited for the album. It's been a while since Gambino gave us quality work, and I'm excited to review it next week.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.